And I personally asked her what happened, and we had a conversation about that as well. Obviously, she's incredibly professional and thorough at what she does. She does a sensational job for us. Her question was not beyond the pale. It was more than fair. It was professional, and she's to be commended for the job that she did. Having said all of that, I don't think we need to overreact to what transpired with the Greek Freak. And here is why. He had just lost a big game. In the aftermath of losing that big game, she had to write a story, which obviously she wrote before the game, that basically was posted after a loss. It was in preparation of Milwaukee losing this game. So inside of a 15 to 20 minute period, after losing the game, he was made aware of an article that she had written where basically she did her homework, spoke to a multitude of people, and was thoroughly informed that, again, a lot of his decision-making as it pertains to his willingness to stay in Milwaukee are tied to reaching the NBA Finals. If Milwaukee's progress towards the finals is impeded in any way, this season, next season, etc., at some point in time, he's going to want out. In a period of 20 minutes, in the immediate aftermath of suffering the most devastating loss of his professional career, he got wind of that story, and he was not happy about it. And so we have to look at it from the standpoint of whether it's Joel Embiid crying or it's various other moments that guys have had where if they had to take it back, they obviously would. This was a moment in which the Greek Freak just didn't want to be a part of because he was looking at the person that wrote that story. Obviously, he didn't like it. Certainly the timing of it all, that's not her problem. She didn't do anything wrong. ESPN didn't do anything wrong. They were doing their jobs. But in that particular moment in time, a 24-year-old guy in the biggest game of his career just lost it, and he's reading a story in the post-game locker room about how, you know what? I might want up out of here if we don't get to the NBA Finals. And rather than go off or say anything that he might regret, he elected to get up and walk away. I kind of understand that. And I think she does too, and I think most people do.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you, Max. I'm going to really say, hell yeah, I give him a pass. You know why? Because as a player and from a coach's perspective, when you lose, your emotions are so high, okay? And this just wasn't a regular loss. This was the end of their season, okay? So now in his mind at the podium, I know he's going through what happened. What's going on here? We were just up 2-0 to start this series. We were dominating the Toronto Raptors. And in 4 games, we're out of the playoffs. We had an opportunity to go to the NBA Finals. We get all the way here. We were the best team in the NBA all year record-wise, and then we get here and we can't finish it. And to Stephen A's point, the article that was being written and that he read about, I'm getting up and leaving anyway because you don't know what's going through my mind at this particular time. And for a story to be written right after we just have this loss, yeah, I have to get up because I'm going to say something that.
But Damon,
you got to get Stephen A.
Damon, understand that. For example, like when we're working, for example, there's a game that's taking place, right? It's Game 6. You could force a Game 7, or you could get closed out. So what happens is, in preparation of these things, reporters have to, have foresight, put in some work. There was an angle if they won. Right. There's an angle if they lost, and it's immediately posted once the outcome is decided. So it's like you're preparing for either scenario. Giannis is not going to understand that. He's not going to see that or whatever, and he's not going to be in the moment. But understand that the reporter did absolutely nothing wrong at all.
I'm not saying it's her fault.
You're saying
I'm saying I understand Giannis' reaction.
Right.
Because
so do I.
Here we are. We've lost 4 straight, and we were the best team all year, and we had an opportunity to get to the NBA Finals, and I don't want to say anything that's going to damage my image going forward.
And Max, now you're confronted, about the specter of could that potentially lead to another question as to your willingness to stay or go or whatever. And in that moment, he didn't want that.
I understand it too. but I expect more from Giannis. I love what it indicates about him, how competitive he is. I think it indicates like he's really upset by losing. He should be. That's why I love this guy so much as a player and everything I know about him, though I've yet to meet Giannis or talk to him. But everything I know about him, I'm a fan of. And yet I expect more. I've seen great players lose, even at the age of 24, heartbreaking games, and they still answer all the questions. I don't think it's the end of the world. I'm not saying this disqualifies him in some way. I'm just saying if we're being asked, does he get a pass, yes or no? No. Right. I don't give him a pass for it. I understand I don't give him a pass for it.
But at least concede, we've seen far, far, far worse. And things far more reprehensible and disrespectful towards reporters than what we saw from Giannis.
Does that off-the-court composure come along with experience? I mean, we're alluding to it on the court.
That's the point. That's the irony of all this. The question was really about experience.
Yeah.
And he wasn't experienced enough to take on the best player in the world who proved it against him, who shut him down defensively. You can argue LeBron, but LeBron's not in the playoffs to show that. Kawhi is. And Kawhi's having a playoffs every bit as good as any LeBron's ever had.
LeBron's not in the playoffs to show what?
To show that he's better than Kawhi right now.
Oh, okay.
You know, anyway, the point is, let's not get sidetracked. Look, the real answer to all this stuff, right? Like, and I think it was Charles Barkley who said it after the game, and Stephen A., you talked about this before the series. When it matters most, Giannis becomes a center, basically. Because of his type of skills, he's a big when it matters most in the fourth quarter. And bigs, I don't care who you are. Kareem needed Oscar Robertson and Magic Johnson. Shaq needed Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade. And Giannis doesn't have the guy to pair with him.
Go ahead. You can keep talking. You could keep talking, but the fact is, we tried to explain that to you for 3 months when you were calling him the best in the world.
And I wanted to see it.
And now you're breaking it down. You knew what his skill set was.
And I thought Giannis could overcome it, and he couldn't. And a lot of that had to do with Kawhi. The point is, she asked about experience. Did that play a factor? I thought she phrased it beautifully. I thought it was a legitimate question, asked respectfully. He got up and walked out. Got to do better than that.